coming up on this episode of Roots from LNER?
I don't know what it was, but I was doing it. I was hosting it. I said yeah. And I remember the American team filming Times Square of me popping up on this advert. And at the same time, I was picking up sale clothes off the floor at New Look. And I was living double life. Went to Hong Kong. I went on this train that goes up into the mountains. But the thing I remember is as we were looking for a restaurant, honestly seeing a rat. It was like the size of a badger getting into the bins. And I was like, what? I thought, I'm going to have to go for a wee in the woods because I'm absolutely desperate. You know, I'm looking around, yeah, all good, surrounded by trees, good. Pull everything down. When I say all, like 30 of the cyclists came round the corner and came past me while squatting in this woods.
Welcome to Roots from LNER. Clear your inbox or think outside the box. On LNER, it's freedom all the way. Well, hello there, I'm Jenni Falconer, and today I am joined by a presenter who has become one of the queens of morning radio and television, from hosting the Capital Breakfast Show to ITV's This Morning. Yep, my guest broadcast to millions of people daily. It is Siân Welby.
Hey!
So nice to see you.
Oh, Jenny, last time I saw you, I had the fear because I was quite tipsy. It was Christmas, and I thought, I hope that I was on my best behaviour.
Do you know what the funny thing is? We were both saying this. Last time we saw each other, we had a few drinks. I will say, I hadn't had as many of you, Siân.
No.
Because you can't remember.
I can't even remember. I came straight from the breakfast show. So obviously, what was that? 10 a.m?
Yeah.
That's when we started. I saw you about 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, I think we waited to start till midday for ours. So we
That's
were a
very
little
civilised
bit
of you.
We were behind you.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's lovely to chat to you.
Great to see you.
And the thing is, we work every morning doing our radio shows. I'm on Smooth, you're on Capital. We're in exactly the same building, but there's 2 floors between us and we're on air at the same time.
Yeah.
So we don't actually see each other every day.
No, at the minute, the only time I see you is if when a song is on and I have to run for a wee, and I sometimes run past your studio and think,
wave.
hi, hello.
Okay, so we're here. We've got our destinations. Tell me why we are going to Newark Northgate.
Because it is a stop that I go to all the time when I'm going home.
Well, you see, in Newark Northgate, there are so many things. We've got Newark Castle.
Yeah.
We've got an alpaca centre.
I can't believe I haven't been there.
Apparently, it's really popular.
I will go.
And Museum of Timekeeping.
Yes, I mean, it's all there. What more could you possibly want?
Next time you visit your mum and dad, pop into one of those lovely sites.
It's great. No, it's so funny because when I think of it as the home of TK Maxx and Home Sense and the retail park and a really good fish and chip shop.
Home Sense is from there.
Oh, God. So good. Well, it's just when you get off at Newark Northgate, you're right next to a retail park. So it's very tempting. My mum comes and picks me up from the station, go straight to the retail park, massive TK Maxx, Home Sense upstairs. Let me in there. Let me at all the tats. I love it.
That is the dream. Although, Siân, we live near each other and you do know there's a massive Home Sense just down the road.
There is, actually. You are right. But I never end up going to that one. It's not the same.
Oh, it's not. How often do you get to go home?
Not as often as I used to. I used to try and go. Well, at one point, I tried to go almost every week. And then then it becomes every other week. And then it was every month. And so now I try and come actually during all the school holidays. So if we get half term, and then I can see my sister, her kids, my mum, everyone. So yeah, I probably try and time it with the school holidays.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone is still back there then?
Yeah, most of my friends. My sister lives there with her kids, and then my mum, dad, and family. Yeah.
When you go and get the train, say you are going home for the weekend, how much stuff do you have? I mean, because I imagine now that you've got Ruby, how old's Ruby now?
18 months.
Is she really?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you've got Ruby, you'll have Pram, there's stuff.
There is stuff, and it can be stressful because you can load up the buggy and think you've absolutely smashed it, and then you've got to remember that when you get on the train, you've got to fold the buggy down and put it away. And I'm like, where's all this stuff going to go? I'm overhead lockers and all the lot. But I've done that journey with Ruby even at a few weeks old. I think I went up when she was 3 weeks. 3 weeks I went. And I just did it. And actually, it's fine. It's less stressful than driving because you're on the train. I could pick her up, sit her down. So it's actually brilliant. I think if you have got little kids, especially babies, because you can take food, you can do bottles or whatever you need to do. And you're not there in the car driving, just stressing at a crying baby behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's lovely to have you on here, and we're doing a lot of chat about travel, so we'll get more into where you travel now a little bit later. But first, I want to go back to when you were younger, because I understand that Skeggy was like a regular destination for you.
Yeah, that was my childhood holiday. Skegness, Butlins, little caravan holiday. And there's some of my best memories. They were like, it always rained, chucked it down. I remember other kids that would come come home from the summer holidays with a tan, and I didn't understand it. I was like, "Where have they been?" Because I haven't got one, and I couldn't work it out. Like, I just didn't realise that other people went abroad and they were getting lovely holidays to Turkey and stuff. But I was so happy. I loved Skegness. I loved going to Butlins. Um, I loved that sort of seaside, arcades, all that kind of stuff.
I know the thing is, when you think back at holidays like that as a child, they're the ones that can often really stand out because you have the like little highlights, don't you?
Yeah, you do, yeah, because I mean, even now I get like pure joy and nostalgia from a 2p machine because as a kid, I probably only had £1 or £2 to put in there. So I was limited. And then as an adult, I had this like moment, not even that long ago, I went, I'm an adult with free will and more than £2. I can just put £5 in this machine if I want, or 10. And I just thought, like I enjoyed myself trying to win a keyring. And it was like, it just made me so happy. And I was that kind of thing stems from being a kid and just having very simple pleasures.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, how those arcades are just so, so popular. I did a show once, and Eric Estrada from Chips, huge like show in the 70s and 80s,
Yep.
he was on the show, and we were staying in a coastal town, and he'd never seen arcade machines before. And he went in, we lost him for hours in the arcade
Yeah,
machines.
because it would seem like a wonder, wouldn't it?
Whoa, it's
Yeah.
like Britain's Vegas equivalent.
It is, but then it's like it feels just way less sort of seedy. It's kind of like, oh, it's fun, and you get fish and chips around the corner and some candy floss, and you've only ever spent a couple of quid in there, and that's what's kind of lovely about it. And so it's like those sounds and the smells, and yeah, I love a good old British seaside holiday.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
When was the first time that you went overseas? If you said that you kind of noticed all your friends were coming back with tans, when was that your first experience?
I think I was 7 or 8, and my aunt had saved up a load of air miles. She had a really like quite a cool high flying job, and she'd saved all these air miles, and she'd always said, "When I've got enough, I'm taking you all to Disney World." So imagine being a kid waiting for that day, like just couldn't wait. And then one day we get told we're going.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So my first experience of a flight was a big Boeing 747 or whatever.
I mean,
big-
that's amazing.
so cool. And also because those planes are so smooth and you don't really notice you're flying, I wasn't scared. I was watching movies on a television screen. I thought it was amazing and got food served to me. And I remember them coming around with ice creams. So as a kid, I thought it was insane. I loved that. Yeah.
I mean, going to Florida on a holiday as well is very special. It's going to America as a little kid and going to Disney World is just, I mean, what an experience.
It was mind blowing. Because they've thought of everything, and it's like if you've not been, you could look at it and go, I don't get it. Why would you want to be stuck in a theme park? But especially when you're younger. There's so much magic. The way they pump the music as you walk in, it almost brings you to tears. It's like a Goosebumps thing because you're suddenly seeing like a castle that looked like it only existed in movies or in cartoons, and suddenly this place that maybe you'd imagined and seen on adverts. And when we were growing up, those Disneyland adverts were on all the time. So to actually be there was quite a moving moment for me. I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm here. And we just spent 2 weeks there. We went on everything. We queued for every ride. It was mad. And I remember because my dad's quite a lot older, like my dad's almost the age of could be my granddad. There's a big age gap between my mum and dad. And I thought it wouldn't be up his street. And some mornings we were so shattered we got up late. And my dad had been up at 6 and he'd taken himself off and gone. He was like, I'm not waiting for you lot, I'm going to see Mickey Mouse. And off he went.
There is something quite special. I mean, if you are a little girl
Yeah.
and you love the thought of Cinderella or Belle from Beauty
Yes.
and the Beast, you get to see them.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think coming from a very small village where you didn't bump into anything like that. Some of my memories, I remember like as a kid, I'd get like Smash Hits magazine. You're probably in it actually, Jenny. And I'd be getting all the stickers and whatever. And I remember one day it came with a free autograph book. And I remember thinking, where will I meet? Who am I going to get to autograph? I couldn't, my little brain was like, I'm in this tiny little village where nothing happens. How will I ever get anyone to sign this? So it was the same kind of feeling. I think I even took an autograph book to Disneyland because you used to get the characters to sign it. And it felt like for once I was where it was happening. And maybe that sparked something in my mind of wanting to not be left out of where stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you got your autograph book, do you remember who your first celebrity autograph was?
In the meantime, I've never like had anyone famous sign it, if you know what I mean. I just remember taking one to Disneyland and it would be someone like Mickey or Tigger. It was something silly like that.
I had an autograph book, and I remember standing outside Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, having
Amazing.
been to see that, going to stage door, because I learned if you go to stage door, they all come out. And I think I got Jason Donovan's
I
autograph.
knew you were going to say Jason. That's
I
brilliant.
was so excited. I've now worked with Jason Donovan ever since, and I
Yeah.
still get embarrassed because I'm like, oh my God, I used to really, really, really fancy you.
Isn't it weird how in our jobs you can there's a crossover where the people you were into when you were a kid, you suddenly all our ages just tally up, and then they're just colleagues or friends.
Yeah.
Emma Bunton used to be in our building, and Jamie Theakston as a kid, I used to watch him on Live and Kicking, fancied Jamie, I've, worked with him. So it is really weird to suddenly be like, oh, I'm now working with these people. It's bizarre.
I actually now know them.
Yeah,
It's
but
so
now
weird.
it's very awkward to admit, yeah.
It's so weird. If they ever asked me who I fancied when I was younger.
Yeah.
When you were 16, am I right in saying that this is when you went on your first holiday without your mum and dad?
Yeah, I went with my 2 girlfriends from school, and you look back at that and that is mad, really.
Where did you go?
We went to a place called Port de Palencia.
In Spain?
Yeah.
At 16?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't it mad to think we were just let loose? But we were my parents were very trusting, and they sort of always just let me do things. And in that way, I don't think I've ever rebelled, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of mad things, but we were quite sensible. But when I look back, I think there was no smartphones. We just had to find this hotel. Like, what if we'd got lost? Sort out a taxi. The whole thing blows my mind now to imagine. I remember we took a camcorder, so there is footage of this holiday. I've got it on a tape somewhere. And it was bizarre. I remember being 16. I think it was legal to drink at 16 in Spain at that time. And you could go and we just thought it was amazing. Like, we could go and be grown ups and drink on a night out. And actually, looking back, it was pretty tame what we did. And it was all very wholesome, but I can't believe we did it. And I don't think I even had a mobile. I can't remember. I don't think I did. Or I
Yeah.
wouldn't have had any credit on it if I did. I think I called home once from a payphone.
So funny,
I
isn't
can't
it?
imagine doing that now with Ruby, but, it's fine.
I know. I mean, that's it. 60. I mean, the thing is, you do feel really grown up. And I guess if at that age you're trusted to go and have a holiday, you are going to want to act grown up because you want to prove that you can do
Yes.
this.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, we didn't do anything too wild, but it is mad to think that we did a full girls' trip at 16.
Well, I was 18 when I went on my first girls'
Yeah.
holiday, and we went to Tenerife.
Nice.
And my friend got ill with the swimming pool water. She had gastroenteritis, and she ended up in hospital. And we went to the payphone and phoned her parents and went, "Hi, just to let you know, Mishy's in hospital. Don't worry, she's fine. We'll call back in a couple of days." Whee!
Can you imagine? And they wouldn't have even been able to call back. This is what blows my mind.
I know.
You can't believe how different life was.
Yeah, and now everyone's tracking everyone. You know where your kids are.
Oh, yeah, find my friend's AirTag in a sock. I would be like, mad woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the one thing I do remember was I remember we had a night out and my friend Kat came over and she went, they pour vodka by the second. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, it wasn't like a measure. It was 1, 2, 3. And we blew our minds. We thought it was incredible.
I mean, it's like what they do in Puerto Palencia is
Yeah.
completely different to what they do here.
Oh yeah, they've got their own laws. They just do what they want. But it was just those kind of things, though. They are core memories that that was the start of going, oh my God, I love this. I love traveling. I love going out and seeing new places. Yeah, it was great.
I mean, you have traveled so much since you started working as well. Do you remember your first trip away for work?
Yeah, which I think I was 19 and I was doing a bit of presenting. I was still working in a clothes shop, but I got this job and I was going down to London once a month and recording shows just for online. And the show did really well. It's really random. It was one of the early things where people were doing, it was kind of like pre being a YouTuber. You'd be a presenter that did websites. So I was doing this show for an American audience. It's so weird. I just got the job. I was doing a comedy tech. I suppose it'd be seen almost like a podcast now. I don't know what it was, but I was doing it. I was hosting it. I said, yeah. And then they said, oh, we want to take it to Vegas. And at 19 on my own, I went out there.
Oh, wow.
I know. Again, my parents sort of was like, well, if they saw it as an opportunity, they're like, go for it, Sian, don't be silly. They sort of raised me to be smart and, I don't know, just be quite grown up about things. And they'd always go, well, if you want to do it, and, we we trust you to do it. And I went off and I filmed this show out in Las Vegas at like 19.
Oh, how amazing. But these are kind of like sliding doors moments. If you don't do it, you've no idea what would have happened. And if you have an opportunity, why not? Even if it doesn't work out, it's a nice story to tell.
Well, this is it. Yeah. And I remember I stayed in the Flamingo Hotel in Las
Oh my
Vegas.
God.
Talking of like slot machines, I remember seeing an old lady when we arrived and she was on a slot machine. And when I got up the next morning for breakfast, she was still sat there. And I was like, oh, wow, this is wild here. But that was weird because that was like that show, we filmed it out there, and then that became a promo for this online show we did, and it ended up with an advert in Times Square. And I remember the American team filming Times Square of me popping up on this advert, and at the same time I was picking up sale clothes off the floor at New Look, and I was living double life for ages.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that is an amazing experience.
Yeah.
You've done, I can't believe you've been presenting then since you were 19 years old. But in that time, you have done such a mix of different shows.
I've literally said yes to everything,
But
Jenny.
do you not think it's nice doing that? I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from. If you get an opportunity, you do it. But that means you've done sport, you've done lifestyle, you've done weather. I mean, you've done everything.
I literally said yes until I got the job, like the one I wanted. Now I would say I'm exactly where I wanted to be, which was sort of radio, light entertainment, silly. But along the way, I had to, I suppose that you've got to earn your stripes and prove you can even do it. Sport was good because it taught me timings and, you can't mess up a take if there's a load of cyclists behind you about to start a race.
Is that what you were doing, cycling?
Cycling was one of the first ones I did, yeah.
And what do you know about cycling?
Not a lot. Not a lot. But it was all these road races. And I did get to know the teams and I got to know the different teams, the different brands, the different clubs. And it was cool. I knew all the lads. It was great. And we'd just go out and film all this stuff. And there was one show though where we were in like Northumberland in the middle of nowhere. It was windy and this road race was going like up through the hills and everywhere. And I was desperate for the loo. And you knew there'd be hours in between the race because I used to do the opening. All the cyclists would leave behind me, and then I'd maybe do a few links in between and go, we're here at so-and-so, and maybe catch a few cyclists coming past going, oh, and there goes, what's his name, for rally going past, and I'd just do a little bit of that, but mainly then the commentators take over and I would just wrap up at the end.
Yeah.
So I could have hours in between. I thought, I'm going to have to go for a wee in the woods because I'm absolutely desperate. So I got into the woods. I'm looking around, yeah, all good, surrounded by trees, good. Pull everything down, squat to do a wee, and honestly, when I say all like 30 of the cyclists came round the corner and came past me while squatting in this woods. And I was like, no. But it was too late because I couldn't even get up. And I was there going, and I was thinking, please don't see me. Camera crews, the things are, and they're coming around the corner and we've got so-and-so in the lead and they're going, and I was thinking, no. And I knew it'd all be filmed.
So you just needed a hood on your jacket and pulled it down.
Oh, I just was like mortified. I was like, only me could do this. But they're the kind of things. So like, did cycling, road racing. I've done golf. I nearly did the darts actually.
Oh, did you?
That was like a sliding doors and I ended up doing something else. But yeah, I've done quite a few jobs like that, which I am so grateful of because if I hadn't have done them, I just wouldn't be as good with like live telly or anything like that because I wouldn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, but it's all great experience, but also it gets you to see the world. And
Yeah.
that's one of so many people, we all go into work in whatever line of work you want to do, but as a presenter, to travel and see all these places, okay, you're there for like 8 hours or 12 hours, not very
Yeah.
long, but at least you get to have a little snippet and a taste of all these places. Mexico is another one, is that right?
Yeah, so just before I joined Heart Radio, I was doing Formula E, which is like the electric Formula One. I did a whole season of that, so for a whole year I got to travel all over, which was very cool. And yeah, went to Mexico City. I'd never go there on a holiday. I don't think you really would go to Mexico City. You'd go to Cancun or wherever. So that was quite cool. I remember thinking it was just so hot and stuffy. I remember that. And again, a lot of the time you might be in a paddock or a racetrack, but I did get to sort of do a little bit of a tour. Went to Hong Kong, which I would have never gone to as a holiday. I saw a rat the size of a cat there.
Oh.
Is it weird what you remember? Like
Yeah.
there was historic things I did. I went on this train that goes up into the mountains.
Oh, yeah, the cable car thing.
Yes, yeah, but the thing I remember is as we were looking for a restaurant, honestly seeing a rat it was like the size of a badger getting into the bins, and I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, they are this big over here."
Oh my God, I didn't know. Once you see something like that, your eyes,
I was like, "Oh my God."
it's in Florence. That's where I saw one. I saw them swimming I was on the
No.
main bridge, okay, and I'm looking down, Ponte Vecchio. We're looking down, we're like, oh, what a lovely day. And I looked down in the water and I could see, I was like, oh, look, is that a dog? And everyone's going, no, they're
Is that
rats.
a dog?
It was massive. I was like, it's gone to get a stick. No, it was
Oh,
just a massive load of rats swimming.
just living their best life.
Yeah, it's funny though that then that's all you remember about that city.
I know, and I feel awful because Hong Kong's actually awesome, and the food we had there was incredible, and yeah, the place was amazing. Again, though, that place was so humid. I really remember the smell of it was almost like petrol in the air. Like I know I was there for a race and stuff, but yeah, you remember smells, you remember tastes and sounds, and the rat. He will always stay with me.
It will always be there.
He'll be there in my heart.
Exactly. And how did the weather happen?
Oh, honestly, Jenny, I didn't even do geography at GCSE, but I remember thinking that weather might be a bit of a gateway into presenting. So it was in my brain a little bit at one point, and I remember trying to even get a job as doing a local weather like years before, and then nothing came of it.
But it was a real trend. I mean, when I was little, I remember on the television just seeing Ulrika Johnson
Yes.
doing the weather and be like, so glamorous.
Yeah. And then she went on to do like shooting stars and
Oh,
things like
yeah.
that. So she was an example of okay, you can get in that way. And I was just trying to get in any way possible. But then that sort of came and went, and I did other things. And then yeah, I did an advert for Now magazine, which was owned by the boss of Channel 5. So therefore that advert played in a loop in his office and in his building. And then he saw my face every day because I was in every single version of the advert, until one day he went, "Who's that? Get her in." And I came in for a meeting with the head of Channel 5 at the time.
Wow.
He'd just bought Channel 5, Chris Shaw, his name is. And I remember Chris bringing me to his office and he was like, "Tell me about you. Like, why were you on that advert and what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I work in a shop, but I've also done." And then because of all these cycling, I did quad biking championship. I started listing all these mad things, the Times Square thing, the Las Vegas. And he was a bit like, "Oh, you've actually done loads of things." Like I think it surprised him, and he was like, "Oh, people keep taking a chance on you, don't they?" And I was like, "Oh, well, they seem to." I was like, "But," and he was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just want to work in television." And then a week went by and I didn't hear anything, and then I get a call saying they want you to be their weather girl. And I think they were just trying to find people to fit every bit of their new channel and how they were going to relaunch it. The timing is just one of those.
Yeah, but I do remember you as a weather girl. You were brilliant. I mean, okay, look, you were brilliant. Even if that was never something that you were trained to do, you did bring a like a nice novel twist to the weather.
Well, I think maybe because I wasn't as into, I will never take it away from the real meteorologists who are so good, and they get their kicks out of getting the degree to a point decimal, you know what I mean? A decimal point. Whereas for me, I got a kick out of sneaking words in
Yeah,
or
I know.
making somebody in the gallery laugh in my ear or whatever. So because I started doing it as a bit of an in joke between our team, and then when Twitter was taking off, I started sort of on a Friday going, "I'll give me a word to put in the lunchtime weather and I'll try and get it in." And that was getting people just joining in a little bit. And then it just snowballed. It became more and more. It was begun to say lyrics. It was Nicolas Cage movies. And then the one that sort of went massive was Star Wars. And that again, I almost didn't do that because I knew I was going to try and really take the mick
What
and do
kind of
loads.
things did you say?
It was stuff like, if you look farther west, there'll be a layer, like Princess Leia of cloud. You might see some sun if you're Wookiee. It went on and on. I mean, it did. I was factually correct with the weather, but really you got more Star Wars than fact. And I begged the producers and the director to let me do it. I was like, "Please let me do this just for the lunchtime." They went, "You've got a 40-second lunchtime report. You can do it in that one." I did it, and obviously it would have just gone out on telly and just gone. And Twitter was big at the time, and I was like, "Please give me the footage." Because obviously it was owned by Channel 5. It wasn't really my footage, but I was like, "Please just let me post it on Twitter." And I did. Because I thought people would just find it funny. And then I woke up the next morning and it was like on America, Good Morning America, and it just one of those ones. You never know why it works. It just did at that moment. It was the right thing, right time, a bit unexpected. No one at the time had done that before. And so it just went off.
It was brilliant. Well, it definitely got you noticed by everyone
Well,
else.
this is it. And I think that's what got me into radio, to be honest.
It was good. It's funny though, isn't it? When you go from television to radio, it's a completely different skill.
Oh, honestly, so hard. So much harder. It is like, well, I mean, I honestly thought when I first did my own show on Heart that I was going to have a nervous breakdown. It was so difficult trying to talk and move your hands and time things and press buttons. It's like learning to drive. You know, like when you're learning to drive and you think, don't talk to me. Or, you know, when you have to turn the radio down when you're reversing. But I couldn't because I was supposed to be speaking and being funny and natural whilst pressing a million things. I found it so hard. That was the hardest thing I ever did, actually, I think.
I found it hard when I started because whereas in television, you've got someone on camera, someone in the gallery, you've got people doing your hair and makeup, you've got everything.
Yeah.
All you have to do is deliver the lines. Well, on radio, all of the rest of it is also down to you.
Yeah.
And if there's a mistake, it's probably your fault.
Oh, honestly, Jenny, the amount of mistakes I made, and because I couldn't get the timings right, and this is hard would come in over my punchline because I'd mistimed how long I was going to speak for, and I had to. Yeah, I mean, luckily they were so brilliant with me, and they sort of just went, "Go on," a bit like all the things I've done. I was just sort of thrown in the deep end, and they sort of trusted that I would work it out, and they went, "Oh, go on, just get on with it," kind of thing.
I mean, it's a different skill, but it's really fun. And it's when people ask, you must get it all the time, do you prefer radio or telly? I find they're so different. It's hard.
It is hard. They've both got the same. They've both got like their pros and cons, I
Yeah.
suppose. And there's cool things about both of them. What I love about radio is it does feel so immediate and so of the moment, and we can just change everything we're going to do. I think live in general is my love. Live telly. I don't like having to rehearse and pre-record and then, oh, let's just do another take of that. And I think, oh, I said it. I can't fake my reaction, or I've said it better the first time and I've messed up the second time. I like to just go for it. And then if something goes wrong, I enjoy the thrill of trying to handle it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you see, with all the work that you've got now, I mean, and obviously with the radio, because we're both there. You're doing 5 days a week on the radio. Going and traveling isn't as easy to do.
No, I definitely don't have as many holidays. Um, and also, you know what? I'm lucky because in some ways I don't have FOMO. Like I have done a lot of these weird and wonderful trips. Um, where I've been to places I never thought I would ever go with work. And so actually when it comes to holidays now, I almost just want all inclusive, give me the cocktail by the bar and the sunlight lounger and a pool, and I'm so happy. I love being by a beach. I still love the whole sand in between my toes and seaside. And again, growing up going to Skeggy, I didn't experience warm water. Honestly, I can't tell you I don't know when it was that I went on a holiday, probably into my 20s when I realised that the sea could be warm. Because I'd never had the brown Skegness foam
You always
washing
dip
on
your
my
foot
feet.
in first, going, oh, oh. Oh my
And
God, it's actually warm. What's
yeah,
going
I
on
can't
here?
think where it was where I finally felt warm seawater. It's just, I remember it being a while. It might have even been Barbados in my 30s because I'd gone to places like Spain and whatever, but it just never been like boiling hot in the water. Yeah.
So if you were going away now, I mean, the type of holidays obviously change. Do you have to plan it? Because you must have like a certain amount of holiday you can take. So everything has to be well planned, I guess.
Yeah, and the way our breakfast show works is we basically get the school holidays off, give or take. We don't get the full 6-week summer holiday, but we get term times off because I think, that's when people are out of routine, and it's probably best if you're going to be off, you might as well be off when everyone is. So
10 times the price.
10 times the price. Yes, and also I'm now having to go. I used to only ever look at adult only hotels, and suddenly I'm like, I can't go to those now. I have to go to the family ones, which was quite a shock to the system.
It takes a bit of getting used to.
But now I've totally embraced it because once you've got a kid, actually the joy is them enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it? Because if they're enjoying it, you're relaxed, and people say to you like, well, it's all the stress and you're in a foreign country, even worse. But it isn't all the stress because actually the stress is, what are we having for dinner? I've got to wash all the pots. I've got to now make the bed and wash the whatever. So for me, I realized that I was getting a holiday because I never had to think about what we're eating for dinner, never had to make the bed. I was coming back and the towels had been changed. It was all those little mini things. I was like, I'm having a holiday. This is great. I'm only having to think about getting her up and dressed. And even then, half the time, it was into a swimming costume and off we went.
And also, I don't know if you feel like this, but going on holiday means you do get to see her get up and get dressed with her,
Yes.
because quite often you miss that because you have to go to work.
Yeah, I miss all the mornings. My other half does mornings and I do pickup. And so, yeah, I do miss that time of day. So it is lovely. Obviously, at weekends, I get it. But on holiday, she got 10 days with me and her dad, just getting all the love, all the attention. She loved being in a pool every day. I was like, gosh, she's gonna, when she comes back to reality and there's no swimming pool anymore and she could have spaghetti bolognese for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah, that is the case, isn't it? It's like whenever you go on holiday, no matter what age you are, you go away, you go to Greece, you have a Greek salad every day and you come home and you want it.
Yeah, it's so true.
Well, or you go to Spain, you want tortilla every day. It's like, it's really disappointing when you can't have it all the time.
I know.
Is 2026 all mapped out in terms of travel? Or
No, nothing.
Okay.
I've done no planning. I'm not very good at planning ahead. I'm a very spur of the moment, in the moment person that gets quite overwhelmed thinking too far ahead. Luckily, Jake, my other half, he's way more organised, and we will have to just sit down and go, like, when can we now plan our next holiday? It probably will be June, the next sort of big holiday, and we'll do some little mini things in between.
That sounds really nice, though,
Yeah.
to do that. And also, it's lovely to have something. I always think that having a little breakaway, even if it's to go and visit the family,
Yeah.
it's just something. It takes you out of the norm, and
Yes.
it makes you spend time together as well.
Oh, honestly, sometimes just getting out of London, or if you work in a busy city, I think there is just a difference in pace and energy and whatever. So it's great, and I've always wanted to be, like I say, where it's happening, where it's at. But then when you just take yourself out of it for a bit, you just are reminded that there's other stuff going on in the world, and you're not just in your little, especially in media, weirdly, is a bubble, because we're consuming news every day and social media because that's part of our content. You start believing that everybody's consumed by it. And it's only when you leave and you realize that no one knows, uh, the yodeling kid in Walmart outside of my
Oh,
building.
well, you don't know that Kylie Jenner and Timothy Chalamet are together. What?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. All those weird references that you take for granted at work, and you're like, oh, what? The hippo called Moodeng? You've never heard of it? No, we haven't, because we're living a normal life. And you sort of go back and go, okay, I needed this. I needed to be back in a bit of nature, slower pace, and normal chat, and just I don't make any plans if I go home to my mum and dad's. I just literally go with the flow and don't really do a lot. See my friends, go for a few lunches, but that is it.
What do you do when when you've got spare time and you're at home?
Sleep. I literally nap. Why is napping so much better than the sleep at night? Honestly, at the minute, I don't really have a lot of time. I need to get back into doing something for myself, actually, if I'm being honest. I've sort of survived since having Ruby, going back to work and just fitting in other little bits, like seeing friends and family. I've not really done anything. I don't have a hobby. I've not really done gym, or I don't have a thing. And I did think this year, I thought I need to just get back into having something that I enjoy and doing. Because I used to love going spin classes, or I love walking and stuff. But obviously this time of year, it's wet, miserable.
Yeah.
It's why my hair looks like this.
I know,
If you're watching and slating my hair, it's because I was in the rain.
And it's
soaking wet.
raining today.
Yeah,
It's
didn't
really
have an
annoying.
umbrella.
So annoying. I know. I think it is quite important to have something for yourself. Not because you need an escape, but sometimes it's just nice to have something where you can go. It's almost like a meditation.
It is. It is. You do need to do it. You definitely do. You need time away from your other half. You need time away from your baby. You do need me
See,
time.
that's why I run, Jan. Because it's just like, I run my commute because it's the only time I get to do something for me. And then I can, if I'm annoyed with someone like my other half, say for instance, if it was that, I can run it off.
Yeah.
And then by the time I get home, I'm fine.
Isn't it funny how much you don't care as time goes on, but in the moment you're fuming, and then by the time you've reasoned it out and talked through your head over and over and you've got to work properly, you're like, oh, actually, it's not that big a deal. But I would like to get back into running and stuff. The most I've ever really ran is like 5K. I'm not a big runner. I know you're so brilliant. And because we live near each other. So the thought that you run into work does blow my mind slightly, because it is still quite a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely don't run in because it's far too early.
Okay, but
But
you run
running
home.
back. But
How long does it take you?
Takes me about an hour.
Wow, that's so good.
But it's gorgeous. You run along the river. It's really nice. And in summer, it's just glorious.
Oh, I do walk that route a lot. And I used to walk as far as I could get till like my feet ached, and then I would get the tube for the last little bit. But I do love walking. I maybe need to try and embrace running a little bit more.
It's what it's all about. I find that as well, the early starts, they do have this knock-on effect. I mean, you said that sleep's really important, but it does. I mean, it does really make you tired. Are you someone, like, if I lie back, I just fall asleep?
Oh, I could sleep. Yeah, I could sleep
So
anywhere. I
awkward.
could sleep in this chair. You see my legs slightly going up. I'm just getting more and more comfortable until, like, the longer this goes on, and I will just be here. Oh, because I could sleep at that angle. I could sleep anywhere the second my head hits the pillow. But I've realised that that's quite an addicting feeling. Because when I'm on holiday, obviously I love having the lie-ins, I love getting my sleep back, and I love not feeling permanently jet lagged. But then I hit another stage where I go, "Oh, I sort of miss that feeling of knowing that I will sleep like that." And I can't explain what that feeling is, but I know I'm always so tired that I will sleep well because I know the second I stop, I'll fall asleep.
Do you ever just fall asleep, like if you're out for dinner, you go, "Oh, I can feel it coming on. I'm falling asleep."
Oh, don't me and Jake try and have date nights, me and my other half, and we try so hard, and we've tried starting them earlier. We've tried doing dinner at different times, and it gets to 9 o'clock, and our eyes are like literally like this, and you think, oh, come on, don't be pathetic. You used to be out till 2 in the morning, please. And it's just I can't quite handle it the same. The best way really is if on a Friday I can come home and nap in the day and then go out on the Friday night. It's almost like that's the reset you need. You need to sleep and catch up and then go out Friday to get yourself into the right. We're awake now and we're up. And then I can have a nice day on Saturday and go out on a Saturday or stay up at least and finish the movie on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
See, I'd be interested to know. I mean, hello to you, by the way, if you're listening, wherever you are, whatever job you do, are you someone that will have a nap in the afternoon if you've started early, or will you carry on? Because when I used to do early breakfast, and also when I used to do like GMTV and stuff,
Yeah, which is a
getting
4
up at
a.m.
2:30.
Yeah, I was going to say 4 a.m. start,
4
but
a.m.
half
start on
2.
air.
Mm-hmm.
I get up at 2:30, but I would never nap because I would be really jet lagged. I'd have this really horrible feeling, so I'd power through. But then sometimes I'd go out for dinner with friends, and I would fall asleep mid conversation. I am not joking.
What's like sat up? Like literally, you'd go.
Chatting, and then just go. And then I would maybe have 30 seconds asleep, and then I'd wake up again, and then I would carry on talking, but not what I was saying previously, but what happened in my dream. So there was one time, and
No.
I was with friends, and I woke up and I went, it was Belinda Carlisle. And they were like, what? What are you talking about? And in my dream, I don't know why Belinda Carlisle.
It was Belinda Carlisle.
But it was Belinda Carlisle. And my daughter was there, and she's like, oh my God, what
Like
is
so
wrong with you? What is
mortified.
wrong with you?
Because you know you go mad.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to me for 8 years of working on that early shift.
Yeah, because that's even more savage because no one should be getting up at 2 a.m. unless it's a flight to somewhere lovely.
But loads of people do. And when you do get up early and you go for an early flight, what do you say to everyone else? This is what we do every day. Do you do that?
Yeah, of course. And because, it's one of those things where also I know that at least I'm getting up. And one thing that's quite nice is I know I'm going to laugh that morning, or there's always like, yes, it's hard to get out of bed, but at least I love the job, and I have been in jobs where I didn't enjoy it, and that is the hardest thing. I think I do feel for people that get up and they do much harder jobs than me and
Much longer hours.
much longer hours. But that is weirdly, and I remember you used to have it with your 4 a.m. club. We have on Capital, we call them like the 6 a.m.ers, because you realise that it does bond you, this early morning thing. Doesn't matter what job you do, where you are in the country. If you are getting up early, it's not even like a smugness, but it's more that we're doing stuff when everyone else is asleep. So you know you're a different breed.
Yeah.
You know you're in a totally different world to everybody else, and it makes you quite close. So I feel like sometimes people will stop me. It happened literally yesterday. I was crossing the road and this big lorry let me pass. And I went, thank
Oh,
you.
so is that what you put on your,
Yeah,
on your Instagram?
and I literally said thank you, and he went, Sean, and he was like, I'm a 6 a.m.er, and he was with his daughter, and she was listening, and it was just so nice.
I love that you have the 6 a.m.ers. I have the early risers.
Yeah.
So I have the same on Smooth. So you can be an early riser with me, or you can be a 6 a.m.er with Shan.
Oh,
Take
yes,
your pick.
we will not. Yes, exactly. You can have Jenni or me. I will not be offended. No, exactly. But it's nice, isn't it? Because they're the people that you're speaking to every morning, and you do end up having a closer connection with them than maybe, it sounds daft, but like the people at 7 or 8 o'clock. It's something magical about that early start.
It's nice. Early starts are good. People miss out on amazing sunrises. That's what I always think.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so busy and so much is going on. I get why you do many more staycations. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think honestly that the thought of having to take all this stuff through an airport security gate gave me the dread and fear. So I just started loading up the car and go, we'll go to Margate, or we'll go to Whitstable, and I just started doing seaside trips. And actually, I've loved it. Got an Airbnb. just a bit of like fresh air, long walks, good food. Fish and chips does taste better by the sea.
But it is nice. I mean, there are so many places in Britain that are brilliant to go to. And
Yeah.
we always think, oh, it's going to be much better just to go abroad. But actually, there's so many amazing places to see in the UK. Thank you so much, Siân Welby, for joining us today on Roots from LNER. And remember, you can catch Siân every morning from 6 a.m. on the Capital Breakfast Show or on ITV's This Morning. And if you like what you heard, why not rate and review wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you give us a follow. Also, look out for Siân's Quiet Coach episode, which will drop next week, and we'll hear all about her travelling, snacks, tracks and hacks, and which places have inspired her and changed her. We'll see you then. Dodge the traffic and dive into a good book. When you travel by train with LNER, it's freedom all the way. Roots from LNER is a Distorted production.